Yeah, and I am really promise I'm just going to talk for a little bit, but about something that I think it would be worth people keeping in mind through the conference and actually on a day-to-day basis as you think about the token market and cryptocurrencies, and everyone tries to get their brain around all this. Now, one thing is that one thing we're going to do at the end to keep everyone around, although Sydney made an important disclaimer that the views expressed here don't, they're not the official view of the Harvard Club. We actually, at the end of this today, I'm going to circulate a spreadsheet which is going to tell you exactly the closing price of Bitcoin every day for this year through December 31st, 2018. So, yeah, I mean, that's really worthwhile. That's a joke, of course. But if I could do it, boy, that would be terrific. So I do want to thank Sydney once again. He puts on terrific conferences all over the place. Thank you. California and Washington, D.C., and chooses great venues. The Harvard Club is a terrific venue. Actually, the first time I ever spoke about crowdfunding way back in the beginning, it was at the Harvard Club. Okay, so here's the question. Here's the concept that I think is extremely important. It has not been talked about enough, I believe, but it's starting to be talked about, and I think it's going to be talked about more and more. So in this conference, the caption is ICOs and blockchain and token, and those can mean, as everyone here knows, those can mean lots of things. So we know what the blockchain is. It's this wonderful new technology for storing information, right? That's what the blockchain is. And then among the things you can store on it, pieces of information, a list of names, a list of bank accounts. And cryptocurrencies are, as we know, just a piece of information. They're a digitized piece of information stored securely on this distributed database. And if everyone thinks they're worth something, then they're worth something, right? Everyone thinks gold is worth something, so it's worth something. If you can exchange it for a pizza or a Mercedes these days, then it's worth something. So cryptocurrencies are just a piece of information that everyone has agreed, well, it's worth something. Who knows what it's worth, but I'd rather own a Bitcoin than the national Venezuelan currency. And so that gives Bitcoin value. The rest of the ICO blockchain world involves tokens that are not cryptocurrencies, meaning tokens that have some utility, which is why we call them utility tokens. They get you something. They really weren't meant to be used as a unit of trade to buy pizzas. So when Filecoin issued tokens, it wasn't for the purpose of buying pizza with them or Mercedes. It was for the purpose of giving token owners the right to participate in this wonderful new distributed digital storage network. Okay, I don't know how many, probably most of the people in the room are familiar with Filecoin. It was one of the earliest and most successful raises. I think they raised about $330 million in about 15 seconds, as I recall. But so that's most of the world of blockchain and tokens. Is not about cryptocurrencies, not about things that are supposed to replace fiat currency in places like Venezuela or Africa, but utility tokens. You're supposed to be able to use it for something. And there are all kinds of wonderful use cases for the blockchain, which is why blockchain is so disruptive. Almost every industry you can think of involves storing information. And if you can do it in a way that is both more secure and less expensive. Wow, that's why blockchain is such a fantastically valuable and disruptive technology. So when you just think about a couple examples, maybe tickets, the ticket industry, you know, Ticketmaster, well, their business is going to be disrupted by blockchain because venues, tickets to this event, they can all be on the blockchain and they can be secure and there's no forgeries and you can decide how to distribute them and you can do it really, really inexpensively and you can do it in a way that it's accessible to everybody. I mean, that's a small market that is going to be hugely disrupted by blockchain technology. So there are a bunch of companies out there that are creating ticket selling and ticket record-keeping solutions built on blockchain technology. And they sell tokens, and what those tokens get you varies from company to company. But it gets you, for example, one of them, if you buy their token, then that gets you the right to advertise on their ticketing network. And there are just hundreds and hundreds, thousands of people selling tokens for that purpose and raising a huge amount of money. And I'm almost done. Yeah, yeah, okay. And so, but this is the question. This is the question. Why should anybody buy a token? Why should you or I buy a token? So we have a company that's going to disrupt Ticketmaster's business and be hugely successful. Why should I buy their token rather than buying their stock? Why is that better for investors? Why is it even as good for investors? What are the cases in which buying a token is either as good as or better than buying stock in that company? And I will just say, no one has been talking about that other than me, but I'm a good listener for myself. And I congratulate myself. But you're starting to see people say things like I've seen online, you know, companies should align the interests of the management of the company with the token buyers. We really need an alignment of interest. And how can we do that with tokens? And of course, my answer is that's why we have stock. That's what stock does. You align your interest, the investor, with the management group. So as you think about tokens, utility tokens, not cryptocurrencies, think about why you would buy a token rather than stock. And with that, I'm going to conclude and hand it over to Jonathan.